Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Death By, where contestants will earn reps for their arguments for a chance to stand on top of the podium pedestal. I am your host, Lauren Kalil. Whoever I decide has the best argument through the final round will earn 30 seconds to talk about a topic of their choosing. We first want to thank our sponsor of today, Garmin. This thing has been tracking all of my sleep, my health metrics, my fitness. I just did a CrossFit competition over the weekend, and that thing went crazy with the amount of data I consumed. Right now, I'm wearing the Epix Pro Generation 2, and it has up to 16 days of battery life. I love that it tells me my training status, whether I've been a little lazy at the gym and it says I'm actually detraining, if I'm in a steady rhythm and it says I'm maintaining, if I'm really hitting it hard, it will say that I am in the productive status. And then if it's time to reel it on in, it will actually tell me when I am overreaching. Something also great is that it has a live heart rate and will actually color coordinate the zone that you're in while you're training. So an easier way if you're doing zone 2 training or anything like that. It's a great visual representation right on your wrist. If you want a chance to get a Garmin yourself, make sure that you click the link in our description. Epix Pro Generation 2, that is what I'm wearing, and we hope that you can get one too. And we'll compare some data. We'll see who's in what status. Right now, mine is productive, so it's going to be a good week. On today's episode for the show, we have the Chief Executive Officer at HWPO, Matt O'Keefe.
Oh, look at that.
Affiliate owner and CrossFit analyst Chase Ingraham with Get With the Programming. He's like 20 years younger today, his younger brother, and the founder and head coach of Underdogs Athletics, Justin Cotler. Welcome, boys. Welcome. Are we getting ready for a busy travel time? We're going to talk a little bit about semifinals, but who's going where?
Yeah, I leave next week for Europe.
I leave Friday for Europe.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
I
Wednesday.
will see you all there.
France,
Are you
LA,
guys?
France, LA, Knoxville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Chase, I imagine the same.
Yes. Wednesday for sure.
France and LA.
France
Yeah,
for sure.
that was the most uncomfortable answer I've ever seen in the history of podcasting ever.
Nice.
I don't know, man. I saw your clip from Spin from Wadapalooza. That was a pretty good one. Asking if Mao was going to compete this year. I would say that
I was like, what are you talking about?
He's just like
When was
deflecting
that?
is what he's doing right now. He's totally
Oh my
deflecting.
God.
I got him locked and loaded. Just
when
like
we talk
you,
about discomfort, there we go.
I mean, I'm not uncomfortable. Are you?
And now this is the top uncomfortable clip on the podcast.
Here we go. And moving on.
All right. Well, things just got weird. Let's make it less weird. And let's play Death By. We're going to get into topic number 1 and make things a little more comfortable, or maybe not. TYR Wadapalooza, they released some details surrounding their new SoCal competition coming this September. The competition will host the TYR Cup, an all-star matchup featuring a 2-team head-to-head format of North America versus the world. Now, each team will have 4 men and 4 women with team captains chosen by the fans. With what we know so far, what is the biggest advantage to the offseason with this format? Matt O'Keefe, we will start round 1 with you.
I'm giving this 2 thumbs up, first of all. Such a cool, creative approach. I mean, we've seen some of this through the Invitational. I go to the Ryder Cup in golf, which is possibly the most celebrated moment in golf every couple of years. It's an outlier event that you see a different personality from the athletes, which you will hear too. Team just breeds, a whole different approach from people, a different level of passion when you're doing it for someone else, with someone else. It's just another level of commitment and pursuit, really, honestly. And it just elevates our space to have different perspective on, how our sport can be expressed is really important. Creating awesome opportunities for the fans to engage these athletes and see their personalities come out and see their skill set in a different way. This is a home run. This is a huge gap in our system, and I am here for. I can't wait to be there, see it, see who's on the teams. I think with this generation of athlete too, the shit talking will be at an all-time high, which will be really, really fun. I'm excited. Like they knocked this out of the park, and we need to, as a space, engage this, celebrate it, and help it grow. Honestly, like this is a must for us forward. This really helps the sport grow.
2 points for Matt. Chase, what are your thoughts here?
I'm really excited as long as we get what we are thinking it's going to be, because when you've got 4 men, 4 women, the USA versus the world, we haven't seen it since 2013 from the Invitational, where the world, anchored by Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, Cara Saunders, Sam Briggs, Albert Dominique LaRouche, Frederick Agidius, and Chad freaking McKay, the superhero from Australia, took on the likes of Rich Froning, Jay Scalipa, Ben Smith, Val Vobril, Lindsay Valenzuela, and Talana Fortunato. What a weekend it was. But the cool thing is, not only did we have captains, but there were some pretty good coaches in the mix with Matt Chan and Mads Jacobson. So I'm curious, are we going to get some all-star coaches to coach these super teams versus the world and the USA? But as Matt was saying, is like, what's really important for me is a couple of things. Who's going to be on the teams? I don't want to see team people on the teams. I want to see individuals that never go team against each other. And yeah, I want to see some of the greatest shit talkers in the sport. I want to see Danielle Brandon going against Laura Horvath, right? I want to see Tia Toomey on a team. I want to see Jason Hopper and Dallin Pepper and Colton Mertens, just like the shit-talking trio. Hell, throw Taylor Self in there, and then you got the ultimate shit-talking team that's ever created by man. But it could be so good. But what I really like the most is that they've already said what style of events they're going to be. 6 events, all individuals scoring at once, just like the Open. All athletes versus each other, team versus team, 8 versus 8. Spotlights, meaning there's going to be specialists for monostructural weightlifting gymnastics. The Miami trios, 3 men, 3 women. CrossFit Games, 2 men, 2 women. And then you have the captains going against each other. This could potentially be one of the most exciting, not off-season competitions, team competitions ever created. And this could be the future of team competition at the CrossFit Games.
Oh, 3 points.
Wow.
I like it. That was a strong statement.
That was very, very well done, Chase.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good job.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so Justin, what do you think?
Well, I'm glad that you guys went first. I learned everything I needed to know since I have been
Ratted him out.
knee deep in semifinals workouts, and to be honest, I don't know much about this at all. Other than I did, have a conversation with Dylan a couple months ago. They were kind of flushing out some ideas, and I had an idea. I had an inkling that it was going to be some type of a team competition. I love to hear that it's an all-star team comp. I think these types of exhibitions for the fans are so much fun. You're gonna get some of the best athletes in the world, hopefully. I looked at the date, and the date it's pretty good, because you're talking about almost 2 months after the games and still about 6 weeks prior to Rogue. So it's kind of a sweet spot there in the off season. So that looks pretty good. I'm a big fan of it because it's literally 4 hours away from me by car, which is wonderful, as opposed to having to fly across the country. So that'll be nice. The one thing it's going to be interesting for me, I have some pretty good athletes in the United States, and then also some abroad. So it might be tough. I'll be, the rooting interest there might be a challenge when I think about who might be on the team. But yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think it's great for the fans. I think it's a great opportunity for the sport. What I really hope is that we get some incredible content, behind the scenes stuff with the athletes, with the coaches, some real meaty stuff that the fans can sink their teeth into. It's a great opportunity for that, to kind of get them, these athletes outside of the games where everyone is really tight, and tight-lipped and focused. And I think we could get some really fun clips from an event like this.
You might need to get a dual jersey if that's the case, Cotler.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it. I could very well have a few on the squad on opposite teams. So it's going to be very interesting.
2 points for Justin. A lot of details have yet to be revealed. They are going to be kind of having a nice little slow drip up until the games, maybe after the games, letting us know exactly what's in store and who's going to be on the teams. You guys have brought up a lot of good ideas already, but is there one thing in particular that absolutely needs to happen in order for this to be a success and get that buy-in for the community and athletes to do it again the following year?
It just needs that the athletes have to show up. I mean, if we get the right group of people to do this the first time around, it's on. I mean, quite frankly, if we take the top 10 males and females and we can get a good group of those guys off the games and throw them together on a team, because there's high interest in that group of people immediately after the CrossFit Games, we win. Like that's great for the space. It's great for the guys at Loud and Live and TYR and Wodapalooza. Like that's where we need to be with this. Those athletes participating are a key component to the success of this immediately.
I think the athletes are big, like a big piece of this. And I punt to this just because it does have a massive impact on people's buy-in as well as the athletes' buy-in. But I think in order to do this right for the first time in proof of concept, the programming is going to be the most important thing that you do. With the variants of types of events that they have set up, if you have crappy programming that either nobody wants to watch, nobody wants to do, nobody can follow, and then a scoring system that doesn't match with that, they have to make sure that they nail something like that. Because you could have the best people in the world and have a production that no one can follow, or it's too convoluted, or it's too complicated, or it's just like that could ruin everything. So there's a lot riding on the line for the success here. And I think we're all excited because we see the potential of great success when it comes to this. But the programming is going to be, obviously I'm biased because that's where I have a love and passion for team programming, probably more than anybody, because not that many people care about, and Justin can attest to this, is that it will dictate the future success of things going forward with what this setup could be.
I think you're both
You
right.
brought up.
I was going to say, I think
Go ahead,
both
Justin.
of them bring up great points. I think you got to get the right athletes there. Programming's got to kick ass. And then I'm gonna say I think this is an incredible opportunity. You know, we didn't see a lot of the stories or behind the scenes at something like FitFest. It obviously also wasn't streamed. I mean, this is an opportunity to hit a home run here, like for the fans. You know, stream it. Get us just an unbelievable amount of coverage. You know, like we want to dive into these athletes, kind of, you know, what their thought process is, how because you're going to get a lot of great sound bites in an event like this, right? And I think if we don't do it right content wise, we're really missing the boat. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a huge part of this. I'm hoping that Wodapalooza will you know, go above and beyond. And then obviously there's going to be content creators that will be there. And I just hope it's really open access as far as content is concerned.
There could be so much.
Much.
The athletes, mic the coaches, have
Coaches,
mics on the competition floor, right? Have that a part, like the ambient sounds in the broadcast. You just hear people doing stuff. And that's just like very small details that provide a unique situation because it is so small, right? It's a lot harder to do that at Wodapalooza because it's so big and it's tough to do at the games. You're telling me you're going to get 16 of the most elite men and women on the planet for CrossFit, and you have a perfect opportunity to tell, like you said, Justin, all of those stories in a small confined space in only 6 events. Could absolutely be huge.
It's guaranteed money for these guys, by the way, which is something we're not pointing out, and a substantial amount for the winner. You know, I think, you know, that's going to be announced soon. So each individual that wins on a team is going to be paid well. And then even those that don't win are going to be paid. It's really, if you aren't a fan of golf, just go watch Ryder Cup clips, because everything Chase is describing is it. Like coaches are mic'd up, like arguments on greens, emotion, like it's crazy.
Awesome.
And
fights in
if you don't like
lots.
golf, that's great. Literally fights afterwards.
Yeah.
Like
so
you
good.
need to just watch it, and the more we can grab all that, because that stuff's going to happen. It's just take individuals, put them on a team, they're uncomfortable immediately because they don't play well with others often. And you now put them in this environment where they can earn a substantial more by winning than losing. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's be fun.
O'Keefe, you brought up the potential for having all-star coaches. Who would those be in your minds?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to pick a world athlete of substance. I think Matt would be a perfect US coach if you're asking me. Matt or Rich, those guys warrant being, considered for that job.
Matt and Rich.
Perfect.
On the
Like
same team?
that for sure.
Or
Like that would be.
I know one of them. I mean, they're both USA.
Both American, but
put them on other teams.
That could be cool.
You definitely could do that. You definitely could do that. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's like star power is important at that point. It's like people are interested in those guys and what they say and do and what happens behind the scenes. I think you just need to find people that would be interested in it and engage and be excited and passionate about it. And I know those guys would, right? Like they don't like losing. It's part of their DNA. So quite frankly, those two, Annie probably be a really good one for the world team. She's probably not ready to compete at that point, but God only knows with her, like she probably will get back and physically be ready. But I mean, there's obviously a number of people you can list, but that to me, for people that maybe aren't competing right now, makes a lot of sense. And it's huge star power. And they're actually interesting characters that will give you a lot of sound bites.
Or Matt versus Shane.
Yeah, you could do. But I mean, there's a million of them. Yeah, I mean, you're going to need a staff for that. That's corralling some animals at that point. There's some personalities that I think, Justin, you might need to be in the mix on that one.
All right. Wadapalooza, TYR WZA SoCal. This one's for free. And this one is for no points. But next year, it doesn't have to be USA versus the world. It's Team Matt versus Team Rich. You have 16 athletes and they get to have a draft. And you do that live for the draft the day before. And then you start.
That's what they do at the NBA All-Star game now.
That's exactly.
Yep. I love
Okay,
it.
we're gonna timestamp that on May 7th at 2:26 p.m. Eastern
There you go,
time.
Dylan. That one's for free, buddy. I expect my broadcast invitation in the mail, though.
Moving on to topic number 2. Well, the workouts, they have been released for semifinals, whether it was on time, early, and different. They are out there. Athletes, they know what's in store. And we even get to see a repeat from 2016 regionals, but we have yet to see any new movements this season. Love it or hate it, OG CrossFit programming for semis versus adding new implements. Chase, Mr. Programmer himself, will let you start this round.
I don't got to sell it because OG programming, it feels like regionals all over again. And those that were begging for the years that were, it's back. We have OG classic programming. And in my opinion, if you're a fan of the sport and you need new things or flashy things or cute little double crossed wall, like you're not a fan of classic CrossFit, right? You need to be infused with false sense of excitement to get into the games, right? OG programming, it looks great, it looks classic. And on the flip side is that, listen, if you're a programmer out there and you need like the coolest equipment or the most craziest high skill thing to make your programming look cool, you're not a good programmer, just period. You can make great engaging events with classic programming using classic movements in the greatest sense, and then just let these athletes go at it where fitness will reign supreme and not cuteness and not nicheness. If you look at the events we've already had, that rope climb event is going to be wild. And let's not forget, we've got an OG finale with the bike muscle-ups and lunge to the finish line. It is going to be a fantastic semifinals, and I'm glad to see some of that OG regional style programming back.
Don't try to be cute. No cutesy here. Cut to the chase. 3 points for Chase. Justin, love it or hate it?
Yeah, I like the programming. I'm not a big fan of kitschiness. I'm not a big fan of some of the. Listen, I think that there's a place for some new movements, and generally we see that at the games, and then they kind of funnel down from there. I also think logistically, when you're talking about standardized programming around the world, it's probably going to be challenging to get certain, apparatuses, in various places, especially when we're talking about, Korea, South America, et cetera. So, overall, I like the programming a lot. I mean, listen, there's always going to be little things you can nitpick about. I'm still very curious to hear some of the details on some of the workouts. There's probably 3 or 4 workouts right now. We still don't know what the details are, and the details matter. They're going to make a very big difference in the workout when you think about whether it's on a runner or whether you're running outside, whether or not, it's straight handstand walking, whether there's an obstacle or any tricks involved. Is it, farmers carry dumbbell lunges at the end, or are they in the front rack, et cetera. So we're still waiting on specific things, but overall, I think it's very solid semifinals programming. And I think we're going to see the athletes that we want to see get through. And without question, I think ultimately the best in the world will be in Texas in August from this programming.
3 points for Justin. O'Keefe, love it or hate it?
Love it, honestly. And to echo Justin's final comment, like these stages, open, quarters, semis, it's about getting the right group to the games, and all that, different, unknowable, odd object stuff. To me, that's the place for it. And you're right, it filters back over time. We test there, and we get people super uncomfortable. I love where we're settling. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's easier for a spectator fan to follow. And, I know the foundation for CrossFit's unknown and unknowable, but this stage worked when it was regionals the way it was, and it created exciting races. We also have to think of logistics. Like, honestly, people globally who don't understand that, you've got 8 venues globally. Equipment's flying all over the world from week to week. We're dealing with a smaller space that we're confined to, and we've got to be able to repeat this and create scale across all of these events. It isn't broken. It never was. And, any deviation from it was great. We tried it and we're back. And this is where it should be forever. It's honestly arguably the best time of year. It's so fun to compare, speculate what the games is going to look like. I mean, I love these 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and I love the time leading up to the games because of what it produces. This is a home run. This is the way it always has to look. Let's be traditional. Let's create tradition. Let's create a storyline that people can follow, and this does it.
4 points for Matt. You all decided that you love it. Classic OG CrossFit style is great. So then at what point do we need to start seeing new implements? Is that exclusively saved for the games, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yes. Keep the cute stuff for the games when there's 13, 15 events to get cute with. Keep it classic. If it's only 6, make it 6 damn good events. That O'Keefe said, which is an awesome point that he made, is that it's easy to follow, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to engage with as a fan. Because if they're doing pirouettes in the middle of the field, or wall-facing handstand push-ups, or pulling on a sled, you're like, I can't really get into that. But man, when they're running 800 meters and doing clean and jerks at 185 and 125 that we just did in quarterfinals, or legless rope climbs that we all know is heavy or hard to do, and then you've got double unders toes bar front squats. What can you not understand about that? And therefore, you're more engaged. So the fans are going to be more ravenous because they get it, versus wondering how they can even do something like that. I mean, we don't want to see people struggle bus on rings with weight vests on while they're doing pistols and burpees over a box, right? Like, these are actual events that people can get into. And even from the broadcast side, it was actually really tough to stay engaged from the broadcast side all last year, because the events were so long and there was so much time spent on machines where everybody just sits there and wonders where everybody is. Now, we don't have that this year. We get to see what everybody's doing all the time. So I think it's way better than what we've had in the last 2 years.
I think you have to remember it's a spectator sport too. So, there's a lot of athletes that are going to get competing at this level. And if it gets too cute, you got a lot of people that look foolish. That's not good for the sport. You don't want people to look foolish. These are not really workouts where people are going to look foolish. I think the last couple of years, listen, I'm a fan of some of the cool stuff that Boz implemented. Don't get me wrong. But I do believe that the games is the right place for that, because you've got the best in the world, and they've also got the opportunity to prep over the next 2 months where us coaches can get completely geeked out in all the weird shit that we're going to prep them for, right? Like they're going to do stuff that you guys wouldn't, that most people don't even think of. We're just going to try to come up with the weirdest shit. But right now for semis, it shouldn't be that. We should be getting the people that we want to get to the games, and it also needs to look good. I don't want people sitting around staring at the rings. I don't want people who can't do pirouettes. The seated legless, it's just too hard of a standard for semifinals. I just think right now we're in a good spot. I like the programming. It's pretty straightforward. And I think we're going to get the people that we want to get to the next round, which then we can get a little bit cute.
Okay, I got to pause. I need to know, Justin, and anybody else, what is the weirdest shit you've programmed for an athlete that has never shown up?
Well, that's a good question. I have to think about that for a second, because there's a lot of weird shit.
It's not weird, but throwing things like, you can derive energy from past experiences, like the softball throw. I mean, you just like get in that mode where you're like, what is possible? Oh shit, anything's possible. And you look at odd ways to challenge people to see if they're, build athleticism around those movements. I mean, we all do it.
Back in the day when they threw a ball for the next year or so, I was thinking about all the different sports that they could do. So I had athletes doing free throw shooting. I had athletes doing
Underdogs at the rec center on Thursday nights.
Horseshoes, like different things, like accuracy. I mean, certain things that you have to have accuracy, etc. Yeah, when we saw the softball toss, but then again, if you go back and watch the softball toss, I think that was all there was going to be was that 1 year, because it was not a pretty good.
Well, it was without the toss. If you watch some people, they forgot the toss. I did an off-season competition one time that had cornhole in the middle of the event.
There you go. Right.
There's like you got a couplet, a triplet, a quad for multi-rounds. You got 3 chippers, short, long. Like, I mean, they hit the mark on all this stuff. I mean, the programming's great. And by the way, what's the other component that's like not necessarily talked about enough is there's a group of athletes that will focus on this, and there's a group of athletes that will sort of focus on this and start to continue to build their fitness towards the games, which is what it should be. It's like, okay, some people can get through, some people can't. We've got to make, risky decisions on who does and doesn't. I mean, that's the nuances behind the scene that I don't think people realize enough, is like, you can be really successful at semis, especially this year with the early announcement, because adaptation's a real thing. And there are a group of people that won't do that. They'll continue to train to be better for August. And stay the course and not stop their training, get really good at some of these movements, and then get back to it. So, man, it's nailed. Like, this is exactly what this test should look like.
Have any of you tested any of the semifinals workouts, even if you've made some adjustments?
Are you out of your mind?
You never know.
Not yet.
No. Zero.
Not yet? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay, well, that's our homework assignment for the next one of these shows. Everybody else
yes.
is doing.
Come back and report.
I'm broken.
Moving on now to topic number 3. Maybe a little premature, but actually, semifinals is only 2 weeks away. We're right on track. Who is going to make the biggest waves at semis out of any of them? I want one male, one female. Give me your case, state your reasoning, and we will start this topic with Justin Cotler.
Well, listen, I have to stay on party lines here. But it might be a little bit different than who you think. On the male side, I'm going to say, and just because it will be incredibly cool and we haven't seen it before, but I'm going to go with my big guy from Poland, who I believe is going to qualify for the age group and the elite divisions for both CrossFit games. And that would be Bronislaw. I think he's got a phenomenal opportunity to qualify for both, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Chase, would be the first time that anyone will be able to do that, because obviously the competitions are no longer held together. So
Correct.
that would be pretty freaking cool to see a first time, athlete compete at both age group and the individual competition. So that's going to be the first person. And listen, I know it's probably pretty obvious, but I'm going to say Alex Kazan, because I just think she's on the trajectory in the next few years to be the best in the world. And I think she's going to continue to have a coming out party, and it's going to be fun to watch. She's just getting so good. But anyway, those are my two, and I'm sticking with them.
Oh, I like that. That would be awesome to see somebody compete at both CrossFit Games. There's nothing in the rule book that says they can't, right?
That's right. That's his goal this year. Yeah.
Let's go. 4 points, Justin.
Thanks.
Matt, male and female.
I mean, we obviously are going to toe the party line right now, but when I look at
everyone's on party line.
No, but I believe in this. And also people have to realize you're most connected to what you do on a daily basis, and it's what I see and have the most data around. Jason Hopper had a really tough year last year. We all missed the mark with him last year collectively. So it's been a really good recalibration, and he's done an immense amount of work on his own to, position himself for what matters and what he's focused on a daily basis and what he wants out of this. And I see a monumentally different human. And we saw it in quarterfinals. Quite frankly, I think a lot of people will look at, he's semifinals. He's traditionally done really well. Not in those stages. He was dominant at quarterfinals. And it's the Jason I expect to see the rest of the season. And I think the game's going to bode really well. He sets up really well for the CrossFit Games. He's incredibly athletic, a big body. I'm just really excited to see him back out on the floor. He's more excited than anyone. He wants that next crack, And then on the women's side, I think a lot of people have forgotten about Brooke Wells. She's an older athlete by a number of times at the games, but she's not by age. She's had some injuries the last few years. I've gotten to watch what she's up to and the improvements that she's made and the changes she's been willing to engage. Brooke's going to have a great year, and I'm really pumped to watch this whole thing play out. She's a stud. We know that. I'm really think she's going to challenge for the spot that she's always been chasing this year and get on that podium. She is a fantastic athlete, a ton of fortitude and determination, and she's putting it all together right now. She's healthy. So we're in good shape. But those two, to me, I think are going to be really interesting at the games this year.
3 points for Matt. Chase, what party lines are you on?
I don't need any party lines. That's the best part. You guys want some cookies to go with those vanilla ice cream takes about who's going to make a splash?
You can't argue with any of those. You're a commentator.
Going to make the games. I hope he freaking makes the Masters. They're taking 40 people. And Gazan already won her semifinal. What more are you going to splash at semifinals?
Oh, jeez.
I'll tell you what you're going to have. All right, I'll tell you. I'm going to start with my female athlete, who was my dark horse of the year. And that is Miss Madeline Sturt, who hasn't been to the game since 2019. Her first time was 2016. She's only 27, and she looks like she's in the best shape she's ever been, and she has been knocking on the door for years. The last 3 years, 2021, 5th, 2 spots out, and they got 3rd in the last chance qualifier and missed by 1 spot. 2022, missed a ticket to the games by 4 freaking points in 4th, and then 5th again last year. I think she is not only going to qualify for the CrossFit Games again for the first time since 2019, but she's going to do it by winning the Oceania Regional head and shoulders away. I think she's going to run away with it. On the men's side, you see him at the top of the leaderboard in the Open. She's going to beat Gracie. I'm just going to say it, Cotler.
Not going to happen.
All right. You saw him win the Open, you saw him in quarterfinals, and this is not why he's going to make a splash. It's going to be how he's going to do it and for how long he's been doing it. But Jonne Koski is in the best shape he has ever been in since he started in 2013 when he first appeared at the CrossFit Games in 2014. He's gone 9 years. But during that time, he has made the top 10 6 of those times, but all with knee surgeries, shoulder surgeries, bad backs. He got 6th place last year. Jonne Koski is going to dominate the European semifinal and top 5 at the CrossFit Games with the best version of Jonne Koski, who's only 29 years old. And top 5 is a big deal because you look at the top 5 that are in there: Ricky Garrard, Jeff Adler, Roman Krennikov, Pat Vellner, Justin Medeiros, Brent Fikowski, Dallin Pepper. Okay, the list goes on. Jason Hopper. Top 5.
Jason Hopper.
Jonne Koski. Smash.
Wow. Good call. Nice. Wow.
Good takes. Good takes. I like
Okay,
them.
take your 5 points and go home.
I am home, but thank you.
This was built.
We might have to make a
so
gentleman's bet though on
Oceania.
Oceania.
I didn't have to talk about my athletes.
That was
Yeah, that's
predictable
true.
because we
That's
weren't going
true.
to talk
That's
about
true.
others. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hear the debate now between Maddie Sturr and Gracie Walton.
I think it's going to be awesome. Honestly,
It's going to be a good race. I mean, Caitlin Van Zyl will be in there too, to be honest. It's good. Those 3, I think, are going to be really fun to watch. It's going to be a heck of a battle there. I think just knowing kind of, now we know the workouts. I think the one thing Maddie probably didn't want to come up was the snatch ladder. I think if there was any other movement for her, I think all of the workouts looked really good for her, and Gracie will definitely have an advantage there. She's phenomenal on the barbell. But there's going to be give and take there the whole weekend. I think all 3 of those girls will be throwing haymakers. It's going to be it's going to be really fun. And even on the men's side too. I mean, between Jay and Ricky and Bailey, it's going to be a ton. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Do you guys think that's how do you feel about in general the field? Do you think that we're going to see a lot of new faces this year? Is the generation sort of aging out and a new generation?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of the classic.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually a great question. Great question. I haven't even thought about that. Is that obviously in Oceania, because we're going to get two new women to the game. I don't think Van Zyl has been to the games individually.
She has
individually.
Yep.
Was that 19 or 20? Okay.
Yeah.
19. Everybody got to go in 19, so that doesn't really count.
And then she was in 20, but the 20 was online. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I like there is that we made so much stink about like no women competing in Oceania. If this person's like Saunders' team, DeRoy's out, Ellie's hurt, Tia's not even competing, and now it's going to be a good battle on our hands. So I think that's going to be a pretty cool thing. But to answer your question, O'Keefe, or did you ask that? I think we'll have more, I would say, veteran athletes coming back this year because of the classic nature of the programming semifinals, where last year there was so much volatility with the skills and the type of programming that it opened the door for more, I would say, rookies to come through or veterans to get exposed because they haven't been practicing some of those things. And we actually might see more veterans this year than rookies.
Do we know when the announcement will come with actual spots? Like how many spots each region has?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I mean that's incredibly important. And
it's got to be any day.
Yeah, it has to be before semifinals begin. So I would assume by the latest next week.
The data's in though. It's all off of like strength of field and all that. So I would assume that they probably close to know at this point. It's just a matter of communication.
Yeah. Okay.
Chase, do you know?
I don't know.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Also in my 30 seconds to agreeing with these two gentlemen and young lady is that it would really be nice to know how many spots are going to the CrossFit Games this year from every semifinal. Just throwing it out there. I've realized there's been a lot of hard things to accomplish over the quarterfinals in the last week with everything. But yeah, let's know which semifinal is going where. Where's the top 100? Let's see it. Let's see how many spots are going from each semifinal. And then we got the events. We need the spots, and then let's speculation begin of who's going to the CrossFit Games this year.
There you go. Here you go. Then
get ready for
your own question. What's the spread?
Ooh. Like, what are your guesses about who's getting what?
Yeah, like what? Yeah, how many spots per?
Good question.
What was it? It was like
I'll just do your job for you, okay, Lauren?
I know we're basically co-hosting now.
I like that. The evolution.
God, I assume Europe's going to get a massive amount. Yeah.
If you can't win, you might as well co-host.
Oh.
Dang.
Zing.
Okay,
how many spots? How many spots?
I don't think any other semifinal is going to get an extra spot outside the big three. So the 2, 2, 1, 3, that's not going to change. So it's going to be West. We'll go women. West 9, East 12, Europe 11. Is that math even right? I have no idea.
No. 30. That's 32.
32? So we need one more
Yeah,
spot.
I think you're going to get a lot more spots from the East.
12, 12, 9. Europe 12, East 12, West 9.
Does anybody second that? Oh, Justin's doing that.
I mean, there's a lot of hub around the Europe region right now. You know, like I would assume. I mean, stats don't lie, so I'm sure that's going to play out through how the system works. But it sounds like they're going to get some weight over there.
Oh no, that was one extra.
Yeah, I think you're pretty
The
close.
math added.
Yeah,
I'll go 9, 11, 12. West, East, Europe.
I'm curious. I mean, obviously about the West. You know, 4 of the 11, or even 5 of the 11 from last year, are not there. So curious to see how many spots we lose out here in the West on the female side. I mean, it could be as low as 8 is what we were talking about, 8 or 9. So yeah, it's gonna be cutthroat for sure.
Cutthroat. We will hopefully know soon. Otherwise, I'll see y'all in Europe. Safe flights. I hope that everybody's connections are on time and no delays. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. Again, go ahead, scan the QR code or tap the link in our description for your chance to get a Garmin. And happy semifinal season, y'all. We'll see you next time.